Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Ninjutsu podcast. I'm your host, Don Rowley. Today, we are going to talk about the myth of the ninja straight-bladed sword and its origins. Okay, so I am going to just state right out here the idea of the ninja using a straight sword, the ninjato that's commonly sold in stores, is a myth. The ninja did not use anything like that. End of story. Okay. Um, Here is a sword for Togakureru, Togakureru being a style of ninjutsu found in the Bunjinkan, that was commissioned by Soke Hatsumi, who was the 34th head of the style for the students. This is something that I bought when I was in Japan, and I bought it, I took it along for when we did the sword work from Togakureru during the year that the theme was Togakureru. Now, you might note the blade is a bit shorter than a normal katana. That's for using in close in, and it reflects in the way the sword is used. But you'll notice it is not curved. So the sword that the head of the surviving style of ninjutsu, Dogakureru, commissioned did not have a straight blade. It had a curved blade. Okay. In addition, there is not a single word or picture in any work, demonstration, film, book, magazine, whatever, by Soke Masaaki Hatsumi in Japanese, stating that the ninja blade was straight, period. Okay? So some people are still going to argue. First argument that they are going to try to state is, well, the Japanese did use straight bladed swords back in the day before they adopted the katana. To everyone saying that, I say this from the bottom of my heart: be quiet, shut it, okay? This is Itsurugi. This is a straight bladed Japanese sword. To be more exact, this is a replica based on an illustration of one of the three imperial regalia. Back in the, I believe it was 18th century, there was renovation at the shrine where this is enshrined. It's not supposed to be seen by human eyes, but somebody broke the rules, took a look at it, did an illustration. This is something that I bought years ago, based on it. And yeah, so as you can see, this does not look at all like a ninjato at all. And then there is just the matter, a simple logical matter of time. Okay, when we're talking about the straight bladed swords that the Japanese use, we're talking about like 8th, 9th century. The heyday of the ninja when they're going running around was the 16th century. Saying that the ninja you could have used straight bladed swords somehow related to these ancient swords is kind of like saying, well, maybe the British sent regiments full of archers on shore on D-Day because they used them in France before in Agincourt. So again, shut it, okay? There's no relationship at all that nobody can prove, and just timeline. Centuries later, no, okay? End of story. Also, other factors, social status of the people that had those swords and all that. Okay. So yeah, let's get that out of the way. Where did the idea of the ninja using a straight sword came from? Well, to put it bluntly, the world would not believe this if it hadn't been for Stephen Hayes. Stephen Hayes, of course, went to Japan, came back after about a year. Well, he first made a trip for like 3 weeks, then he, came, after a few years, toward the end of the 70s, he went for a year, came back, started writing a whole lot of articles and books and stuff like that, which helped ignite the ninja boom of the 1980s. And yes, he was a source for saying you can go back, Black Belt magazines, Google books, you can find him. He's talking about the ninja using straight swords. He's even selling training weapons that he's commissioned, of straight bladed wooden replicas. And it was part of his little mythology of the ninja as being an oppressed mystic class that had to fight against the samurai. And, as part of this resistance movement, they didn't have the technology to build, to make curved blades, which is just not true, okay? Just completely untrue. So, and this is where it gained traction. And of course, now all over the world, people are believing that the ninja use straight swords, and it all comes back basically to Hayes's promoting this idea. And unfortunately, where did he get the idea? I'm going to have to speculate because in one article, he basically said, well, why am I giving so much attention to the idea that the ninja use straight swords? And he essentially says that, it goes back to how he will be seen. If he made this mistake, people will question his competence, especially on using swords. Because if he says that the ninja use straight swords and the Bujinkan is not using straight swords, well, what does that mean? That means he didn't get any sword training in Japan, but he's teaching sword. And unfortunately, that is the case. While living in Japan, I was told in Japan that Stephen Hayes was not taught weapons when he was living in Japan because he had not gotten skilled enough in unarmed stuff to really justify that type of training. Uh, and I look at his stuff, and basically his sword work, based on a lot of things, like how he holds a sword, comes from Aikido. So that's it. I mean, but this really makes it difficult to find out where he got the idea because we're interested in getting the truth and disseminating the truth. He's interested in preserving his image as an infallible teacher. Yes. Now, over the years, he's come out with different stories. He's tried to say that, you know, the Japanese people had the impression that the ninja used straight swords. In one of his early books from Ohara, the series that I think was six total, he actually backtracked and said, well, the ninja were thought to use straight bladed swords because they were closely associated with Fudo Myo. And two problems with that. Okay, first of all, Fudo Myo isn't something that you really associate with a ninja. Yes, everybody basically worshipped Fudomyo. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people. So it wasn't a ninja exclusive thing. So they didn't associate when they thought Fudomyo with his straight sword. They didn't think of ninja, and when they think of ninja, they didn't think of Fudomyo. If anything, Mari Shiten and others, my book, Shadow Spirituality, goes into that more. Um, but you know, that's the thing is that the ninja weren't really associated with Fudomuyo any more than say a police officer is with Christianity. Okay, a lot of police officers are Christians, but it's like what? Okay, there are obviously police officers that are Christian, but yeah, same thing. The second part of that is that like the Japanese people thought that the ninja used straight swords, and it's like that cannot be supported. That cannot be supported at all. Okay, so I'm going to bring out things. There's prior to Hayes doing this, there's really no ref. I mean, I've got old books on the ninja and their history. This book is from 1962, I believe. The postscript is written in 1962, and right here, yeah, right here, up there in the corner, they've got a ninja, and it's not curved. The picture does not curve, and the caption does not say anything about it being straight. Period. End of story. I mean, it says it's shorter so that it can be used in enclosed spaces. It says it has a long saigeo, a long thing, so it can be pulled up, and is frequently used as a square guard, so it could be, they could put it against a wall and step up. Nothing about it being straight. Okay. Okay, and maybe that's an overlook. Okay, so Nao Ayumio, noted scholar on the ninja. Okay, this book, I think is early 80s. Shinobi no Buki, the weapons of the shinobi. Okay, not one word in this book about ninja swords being straight. Here we go. Edemiru Jidai Kosho Hyakka. Again, this one also by Nawa Yumio. This is on Japanese swords, firearms, and the tools of the ninja. Again, no mention of a straight ninja sword. And it's not just this. I mean, obviously, I've got a lot of books in Japanese on the ninja, and really, there's nothing. You go back 1960s, 1970s. Some of these ancient books that I've got here, like this. No mention of straight bladed ninja swords. Period. Now, some of the things, you know, There might be illustrations where the artist took, in manga or books, something like that, where, they didn't really make the curve obvious. Maybe they did it straight just because it's easier to write, especially in manga. Some of the old animation and stuff like that. They call themselves ninja, this and that. Battle of the Planets, yeah, that you look that up. That's about as far from the historical ninjas as such. So maybe some of these guys use straight double-bladed swords with like angel wings for the hilt and stuff like that, the guard. So yeah, maybe that, but that's not really associated with historical ninjutsu. Even though they call them ninja, okay, space ninja or whatever. There's just nothing saying that the Japanese believed that the ninja use straight bladed swords. From what I understand right now, there is a straight bladed ninja sword in the Ninja Museum in Iga. First of all, I've been told, I have not been there since it's been up, but I've been told that there's an explanation right next to it in Japanese saying this is this common image of the ninja sword, and it is untrue. That's what I'm told. Secondly, the Iga Ninjutsu Museum is really a kind of a tourist trap rather than a high academic piece, so to speak. It's basically serves the purpose of the city of Iga Ueno, drawing in tourists, getting money into the community. So a lot of the stuff, I mean, even the black outfits. I mean, you see them running around in black outfits and red outfits, not really. And again, black from head to toe outfit, no, that didn't happen either. But it is the image and it does bring people in. But from what I understand, there is one on display, and it says this is the image, but it's not true. Stephen Hayes, again, once jumped on the fact that there's an article in an English magazine by Soke Hatsumi translated, and in there it states the ninja sword was straight bladed, and for the reasons that Hayes gives. And he jumps on that and says, "Hey, this is what my teacher said. This didn't start with me." The most common explanation, the most likely explanation, is that it was some editor. Just, oh, he didn't mention that they were straight. We need to put that in so that people know that. This is why I hate editors. Okay, I don't mind if they proofread stuff and they say, I don't understand this, rewrite it. When they start adding stuff and they don't know the subject, yeah, or they think they know the subject is even worse. Yeah, this happens a lot, and really go to a lot of newspaper reporters. It's like they hate editors. But yeah, again, not one word in any book, magazine, interview, demonstration, whatever, in Japanese by Soke Masaaki Hatsumi says that the ninja use straight bladed swords. That's it. Okay, so don't try to blame Soke Hatsumi. This was basically Hayes. And again, we'll have to speculate here because we can't get a straight answer from Stephen Hayes as to where he got the idea. But what we do know is that he ran a martial arts school called House of Tang before, the big ninja boom. And as such, back then, there really was only one magazine. Later on there was two and then some more. Black Belt magazine. And if you go online and go, I believe it's either the November or December of 1973, Google Books has them all scanned. You will find that there is a sword labeled as a ninja sword for sale, advertised in Black Belt magazine. Hayes would have ran across this. And this is my working assumption that, he saw a straight bladed sword being sold as a ninja sword in Black Belt magazine, and he assumed that they knew what they're talking about, and this was something that the ninja used. Um, Again, are we going to get a straight answer? Probably not. But yeah, that's my working assumption because I can't find anything in Japanese, even acknowledging that there was a straight bladed sword, in a Japanese source. And I've got a lot of old books on, again, and I'm not just talking about modern days. I mean, I've translated the Bansen Shukai, the Shoninki, the Nimpide, not one word of a straight bladed sword. Not one historical reference, saying, well, we could tell he was a ninja because he used a straight bladed sword, which again is kind of like defeats the purpose of being an undercover agent. Yeah. Now, the whole thing. Why did these people sell this straight blade sword and sell it off as a ninja sword? Again, I can't really answer that. I can speculate, and one thing might be that, well, they just decided, okay, there's a bit of bit of an interest in the ninja. Andrew Adams' books came out, and they wanted to latch onto that, so they needed something that was unique. So instead of a regular curved blade, they made a straight blade. It would also make it easier if they were making it out of bar steel, you know, possibly. Another interesting but less likely, around the Meiji Taisho area, the Japanese police did use straight swords. And the reason for that is basically they started out with kendo and using shinai, and shinai are straight. And so they decided to go with a straight blade that was closer to the shinai than the katana. And it's possible, a lot more likely than the whole, tsurugi thing, that somehow these people, that were selling this ninja swords, even decades later, got a stash of, unused blades and just decided to put them in a new saya and stuff like that, and sell them off as ninja swords. Maybe. I kind of, again, the idea that they've just decided to make them themselves and make them look different from regular samurai swords so they can catch the ninja market makes a little bit more sense to me. But that's it. You can't blame any, this all comes down to Stephen Hayes promoting the idea that the ninja use straight swords. It's not Masaaki Hatsumi. It's not the Japanese people believing that the ninja use straight swords. It's all on Hayes. And, he was very, very influential and his stuff was out there. And there's still today people that are going to try to argue, well, yeah, well, maybe they did or maybe they didn't. Well, but how do we know? And you're right. So that's it. The ninja did not use straight ninja toe blades. Again, this is what they look like. Okay, this was made by the surviving member. And this is really kind of embarrassing to a lot of these people that started popping up after Hayes made ninjutsu popular and they had their own style with the straight blades and supposedly passed down for hundreds of years. Okay. Anyways, so that's it for today. If you have any questions, any comments, stories, because there's usually a few funny stories involving the straight blade sword and such, drop them in the comments. Go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe. I'll see you in a couple weeks with the next episode. See you then. Bye.